Hi, my name is Van Tharp, and today we're going to talk about R and R multiples, which is really kind of short for talking about risk and reward. Whenever you enter into a trade, you need to know at the time you enter where you'll get out to control your risk. And the difference between your entry and your exit is what I call your risk, or 1R. For example, if you buy a stock at $50, and you decide you'll exit if it drops 20% to 40, then your risk is $10 per share, or 20%. And your total risk, if you invested $5,000, would be 20% of that, or $1,000, which is a way of saying your total risk, or your total 1R, would be $1,000 for that trade. Now, the golden rule of trading is to cut losses short and let profits run. This means you want your losses to be 1R or less, and you want your profits to be greater than 1R, or some multiple of 1R. So let's look at R multiples. It's very useful to express your results as some multiple of your initial risk, and I call these R multiples. So if your initial risk is 1,000, and you make 2,500 in the trade, you have a 2.5R profit. If your initial risk is $10 and you make $25 a share, you have a 2.5R profit. Same thing. And notice how the two statements are almost exactly the same. One is your risk per share, one is your total risk. Say you buy a $50 stock with a stop $2 away at 48. You invest $5,000 to buy 100 shares, but you're only risking $2 a share, or $200. You're not risking $5,000, you're only risking $200. The stock goes up to $70, so you've made $2,000, but your risk was only $200, so you've made a 10R risk. So notice here, 10R doesn't mean you made 10 times your investment. 10R means you made 10 times your risk. Investment, $5,000. Total risk, $200. R multiple, or gain, 2,000, or 10R. So let's make sure you understand this. So here we have a $500 risk. Your gain is $7,500. What's your R multiple? Should be able to come up with an answer. 15R. So your next risk, you risk 500, your gain is 400. What's your R multiple? 0.8R. How about now you have a $1,500 loss with an initial risk of 500. What's your R multiple? Minus 3R. You know, it could drop through your stop. Or this is what they typically look like. You risk $5 a share, you make $17.78 a share. Your R multiple is 3.56. So most of your R multiples will be expressed something like this. So you can also express your losses as R multiples. So if your initial risk is 1,000, you lose 1,500, you've lost 1.5R. If your initial risk is $10 per share, you lose 15. 1.5R, and again, notice how the statements are equivalent. So again, $500 risk, $100 loss, 0.2R. $500 risk, $1,500 loss, we did this one before, so you should have it. 3R, minus 3R. $500 or $5 a share risk, you lose $3.5 a share, $3.50 a share. Right, 0.7R. You risk $8 a share, you lose $12 a share. What's your risk? What's your R multiple? 1.5R. So R multiples are pretty easy. To determine it, you need to you need to make a spreadsheet and look at it like this, and this is kind of what it'll look like. You have your transaction, your total equity at risk, your profit and loss, and then that expressed as your initial risk is your R multiple. So it's pretty simple. And then your average R multiple is what I call expectancy, which is what you can expect to make in terms of risk on every trade. So you need to know your R multiple distribution. And for a trading system, it might look something like this. A lot around the center, hopefully not too many losses, and then the gains will go further out. So in this place, it looks like we'll make 0.62R each time we trade. Has a standard deviation of 1.61R. So we know what to expect from our system statistically after a year's worth of trading. So now you begin to know how likely you are to achieve your objectives by providing or applying various position sizing strategies.